John? Greg?
My name's Greg. I know we look so alike, don't we? Yeah. Hey, Reject Nation, I'm Greg Alba.
I'm Stacey Howard.
Stacey Howard. Didn't mention this in the other video we filmed. We were on movie fights together, guys.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You kicked my B-U-T-T.
Well, don't spoil it, but I sure did. I sure did.
It's been out for like a week.
Yeah.
It's been out for a while.
Oh, man. Well, you kick my ass. We've never reversed turn the schmo down, but you do better than me every time.
That's right.
So, we're going to watch this video today from an awesome channel called Looper. 2019 movies everyone will be talking about. Before we do that, I wanted to mention, this is not a product placement video. People get upset when, you know, you do one of those. But on the Stardust app, John and I have been posting a ton over there. 30-second reactions for shows, movies, trailers, and sometimes we make like little 30-second sketches over there. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, we just want more people to be following us there because we love posting on it. And yeah, they're not sponsoring this video. They should, but they're not.
Yeah.
Either way, follow us. A lot of big people are over there. And the other thing is too,
I want some sponsorship. I want Stardust.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Why don't you talk about your thing, Stacey?
I am doing something pretty special that I'm very excited about. For all you Star Trek fans out there, we are screening Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, at the Montalban Theater. So that's Ricardo Montalban, Khan himself's theater that he started. We're showing it on their roof, which is, I mean, you can see awesome. Star Trek Under the Stars. That's going to be amazing. It's October 5th. Doors open at 6:30, so you can have some cool themed drinks, some Romulan ale, take some cool photos, win prizes if you get some trivia right, and then the film starts at 8. We're also going to have Q&As and meet and greets with different influencers that are friends of mine. Like, do you guys know some of these people? Scott Mance, Dan Murrell, Mara Knopik, Robert Meyer Burnett, John Roca, Jason Inman, Ashley Robinson. You guys are going to be there.
Most likely.
All the best people.
All the people.
You're not coming for sure?
I will. No, I will come for sure. Sure.
Just. No, it's going to be a good time. You guys can get tickets at arenascreen.com. I hope everyone can make it. It's really special and just an event for fans. Absolutely.
Well, I'll for sure be there now.
Yeah, that's right.
Get your tickets there. All right, let's get to it. Headphones, Stacey.
Oh, every time I rip some of my hair out when I try and take these off.
Kind of deserve it at this point.
True.
2018's been a huge year for blockbusters, with 3 monster earners grossing more than $1 billion at the worldwide box office. 2019 is shaping up to be just as massive, with more gigantic movies on the way. There's more Star Wars, more Avengers, and even more evil demon clowns. But that's just scratching the surface. Here are the most hotly anticipated movies of 2019. Hellboy.
I know the guy who did the makeup
unveils his new take on Hellboy on January 11th with the Stranger Things star joining director Neil Marshall for a grittier take on the horned half-demon.
Cool.
Fans should expect a darker tone than Guillermo del Toro's take on Hellboy. With more of a focus on the characters' inner struggles rather than fighting giant gear monsters with a big gun. While Harbour's take on Hellboy looks spot on, the rest of the cast doesn't disappoint either, including Mila Jovovich as a villainous Blood Queen and Ian McShane as Hellboy's adopted father. A role he has some experience with.
All great men have mustaches, right?
That's the best.
Yeah, but
best point of reference right there.
No, I have a hormone disorder!
Captain Marvel. Marvel's first female-led superhero saga will be long overdue when it hits theaters on March 8th. But the movie is shaping up to be worth the wait. Captain Marvel as Academy Award winner Brie Larson as Carol Danvers, and Marvel promises she'll be as powerful a character as they've ever put in a movie.
She had the short hair.
That means she's strong.
Cool, yeah.
How strong is she?
So strong. She can move planets.
There's also some impressive talent behind the scenes, with
idiot.
writers behind the Tomb Raider reboot, Guardians of the Galaxy, and even Inside Out, all lending a hand to bring Captain Marvel to life. Spider-Man: Far From Home. Tom Holland's Spider-Man is set to continue his adventures in a second standalone film, out July 5th. Spider-Man: Homecoming was super successful with both critics and fans, and the follow-up isn't messing with Marvel's winning formula. Director John Watts is back to helm the web-slinger's next adventure, and you can expect most of Homecoming's excellent cast to make a return. We don't know much about the plot of Far From Home, but we do know Spider-Man will face off against Mysterio, the villain played by Jake Gyllenhaal.
Did you know that?
That's assuming that Spider-Man is actually,
Wait,
back from the
maybe
dead.
I did.
Speaking of which, Avengers 4. The fourth Avengers
going to be all Marvel
the end
movies.
of Marvel's Phase 3 when it's released on May 3rd,
Fine
which means you should get your tissues ready. With many of the contracts for Marvel's biggest names expiring, Avengers 4 will probably feature at least a few major character deaths.
Avengers 4
the permanent
sucks?
kind this time. If the
It's not gonna
studio
suck.
continues its no-holds-barred approach established in Infinity War, Avengers 4 is sure to be both completely epic and ridiculously devastating, ending several storylines set up in past films, while also getting things ready
Half
for
the people
whatever's
will come
coming
back,
next.
though, too.
Yeah,
John
but
Wick
then they're
3,
probably gonna.
Parabellum.
The other ones are
Keanu
gonna
Reeves'
have to
puppy-loving
die.
hitman is coming
Yeah.
back to theaters on May
Switch it.
17th for John Wick 3, Parabellum. Following the bloodbath of the last movie, Wick is on the run with a
our first
$14
trailer
million
reaction together, John
global
Wick 2.
contract on his head. Lots of familiar faces are set to return, along with new additions like
Keanu
Halle
Reeves.
Berry as a
Halle
mysterious
Berry's in this? I
Sophia.
didn't know that.
The third installment in the action-packed insane assassin franchise features the
most
same
excited I'd be.
writer-director team, so if you love all things Wick, expect more of the same to come back the third time around.
I'm thinking I'm back.
Oh, God, I want to be him
It's
so
Chapter
bad.
2.
Hey,
Pennywise the dancing
you think
clown
Nicolas
will make
Cage
his
should replace
terrifying
him?
return to the big screen on September 6th.
had to pick
The
someone.
first film followed a group of dangerously unsupervised kids known as the Losers Club as they dealt with
I
an
do love
ancient
Bill
evil
Skarsgård.
being.
I
The
do
sequel
love
will
that.
focus on those
Have you
same
seen
kids
Hemlock Grove?
27 years later.
Oh,
Now
it's
adults,
great.
they return to Derry to deal with the
haven't seen
return of the
this movie since I
child-chomping
saw it
clown.
the first time.
After the first film's massive success, it was easy to land big-name stars to play the adult losers,
She's so
including
good.
Jessica
Sharp Objects.
Chastain, James McAvoy, and Bill
Watch
Hader.
more
Here's
details
hoping
like
they all
you.
make it out
It's
alive.
such a perfect cast.
Wonder
for
Woman
it.
1984.
Like,
Wonder
such a
Woman is the
perfect-
DCEU's best performing film to date in the US. So it makes sense that Warner Brothers quickly ordered a sequel.
footage of Justice
Wonder
League.
Woman 1984, due out November
I'm
1st,
loving
will
that
bring back
she's
director
this
Patty
is 84,
Jenkins,
so her
who's
crown is,
also
like,
co-writing the
placed,
script.
and then the
While
ear,
plot
like, it's all, like,
details have
very
been kept
80s.
Oh, really?
in the wraps,
Oh, yeah,
we know
they
that
used to
Wonder
wear
Woman
little crowns and, like,
1984
tease their hair
found a way
more.
to bring back Chris Pine's beloved Steve Trevor. The film will also feature Kristen Wiig as the central baddie Cheetah, and she's no stranger to playing cat ladies.
And I'm Veronica. Like Veronica, but how a cat would say it.
So look forward to more action,
how they're
fun,
using,
romance,
like,
and bitter comic book
comedy
rivalries.
footage.
Yeah,
Star
it's
Wars
just,
Episode
I don't know.
9.
I can't picture her in
There
this
have been
movie.
some shakeups behind the
I don't
scenes of
know.
Star Wars Episode 9, with Lucasfilm dropping Jurassic
I
World
don't know.
director
I don't know
Colin
what character
Trevorrow
is,
a
or
few months
is the
before
character
production was set
supposed
to
to be
begin.
deleted?
Good thing they
I have
found
no
someone
idea.
who's definitely qualified to take over. The Force Awakens' J.J. Abrams is returning to write and
beautiful
direct the
Oscar
trilogy
acting
finale,
question. He's
due
like-
out December
Still
20th.
is, man.
Still
Every
is.
show.
Episode 9's plot is still a mystery, but all the expected
They're gonna
major
play it
players
so
are set to return.
He's embarrassing.
I really love.
Okay, well, all
Adam
the other
Driver
major
as
players. But
Kylo
we can
Ren.
look
Perfect.
forward
He's
to
the best
Billy D.
one.
Williams reprising his role as fan favorite Lando Calrissian.
gonna be
The late
dark.
Carrie Fisher will also appear via unused
dark,
footage from The
sad
Force
character.
Awakens. Joker.
Yeah.
And then there's
We've
The Wild
talked about
Card, an
this.
Elseworld-style Joker origin movie starring the brilliantly weird Joaquin Phoenix is now officially
Like
for
how he
real,
said it.
with
Joaquin.
shooting scheduled to start by the
Joaquin
end of
Phoenix.
2018. This
Joaquin.
reportedly darker and more experimental take on Mr. J is going to be co-written and directed by The Hangover's Todd Phillips, with The Clown Prince of Crime expected to hit theaters on October 4th, 2019. Warner Brothers describes the script as a gritty character study, but also a broader cautionary tale. Sounds like it's no laughing matter.
Wow, there's some movies to talk about here, yo.
There sure is.
Let's go through them.
Okay.
Okay. Hellboy the remake. This is going to be a lot darker.
Reboot.
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 The makeup artist is his stepfather to a really close friend of mine, and I was sitting down with him, and he was telling me about like how this one's going to be a lot darker. It's probably going to be a hard R is what they're going for,
Nice,
which
okay.
I'm very much excited for. And he was showing me like photos because they released the still of it, but there were details to the makeup that you just couldn't make out in the photo that was released, like little things, just like hair. You know, like how some guys will just have like, oh, little random hair here or something.
Yeah, little
patches
patches.
and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and he was showing me those details. I'm like, wow, that is so realistic looking. It looks
Wow,
awesome.
That's cool. Out of all the movies, I'm gonna say that's my number one.
Really?
Most
This one?
Anticipated. Yeah. Hellboy and Hellboy 2: The Golden Army are two of my favorite comic book films.
Okay.
Those
Those
came
are gonna be very
about,
different.
I think I was like 14, 15, and I remember me and my brother going to see that in theaters, and he was a big Hellboy fan.
yeah.
Hellboy fan. And I didn't know anything about, the graphic novels. And so he was like, sis, we need to go watch this together, and I want to introduce you to this world. And I was completely sucked in. I just felt that movie so much, and I thought it was gorgeous. So I have a lot of emotional attachment to those films. So to see this, I'm like, okay, we're going there. We're going to do a totally new thing.
Yeah.
New people, new look, new art.
It's going to be a lot darker and everything. More grounded, gritty.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other Hellboys are very Guillermo del Toro.
They
and
are.
then this one is, I think they want to honor the comic books a lot closer. Spider-Man Far From Home. What I love about these announcements of Marvel, anytime you announce any of these Marvel characters who lost in the snap, it's confirming that they're not actually gone. Yeah.
Or the story is going to take place
in a different time.
Before he would have been...
Nah, I doubt it.
No?
What I'm most excited for, I think what a lot of people are excited for, I can't wait for these set photos, is Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio. We did a whole video on it, and Jake Gyllenhaal is easily one of the most underrated actors, I think, around today. Like,
100%.
Some people might be like, what are you talking about? He's not underrated. I totally think he is. This guy gets gypped every year for an Oscar nomination.
He's never won.
He's never nominated, and he never wins. You know, it's heartbreaking.
And he wasn't nominated for Nightcrawler, which fucking...
Exactly,
what?
which is
it's
arguably a very iconic role. And I think the Marvel villain problem has gone down significantly in the past couple years. But I think, man, you say Jake Gyllenhaal is the villain. I'm like, that's the main thing I'm going to tune in for now. And I'm wondering if it'll be comedic, though, because Spider-Man has so much comedy, and Mysterio is kind of a little bit of a goofy character in some ways. He can be menacing, but also kind of goofy.
Try swinging your way out of this.
And I'm wondering if Jake Gyllenhaal's acting chops will adjust to that style.
You know what I'm curious about is why Jake Gyllenhaal chose to be in this comic book movie specifically, because he's revealed in interviews, like, he's been offered to be a comic book, superhero dozens of times. Studios have come to him. Everyone has come to him wanting him, because he's like a gorgeous buff guy, a great actor. They've always wanted him to be this. And so then he's like, nah, I don't want to be a hero. I want to be a villain, and I'm going to be a Spider-Man villain. It's such an interesting choice.
Well, I think... It's similar because Joaquin Phoenix used to get offered for comic book characters too, but he takes on the Joker. I think for actors such as those guys, they're much more drawn to the complexity of what a villain can offer, and you're not locked in. Like, I'm sure you sign some deal where you might have to do multiple films, but you're also not locked in to the degree that a leading hero is.
Right.
So you have a little bit more leeway on doing other projects and venturing out. Like Josh Brolin's been Thanos forever. I mean, not from the very beginning, but don't try to hide that yawn. I appreciate that you tried hiding the yawn.
Sorry. Josh Brolin's been Thanos since the end of Avengers?
No,
2012?
I don't think he was Thanos then, but for sure when Guardians of the Galaxy was around, he was Thanos. So even though he had been contractually obligated to make these appearances, he wasn't like committing months and months on end.
Right.
But he could still do the complexity when Infinity War comes out, and I think the similar thing occurs with Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. Is there's a lot more layers you can explore with a villain.
Ogres are like onions.
Of all the villains that have come out with Marvel, I think that Jake Gyllenhaal joining it is what has excited me the most.
In terms of just casting, like you hear casting, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, because I just love Jake Gyllenhaal so much. He's
one of the best, right? Easily.
Favorite actors.
Avengers 4. I've talked about it so many times with this channel. What I love about what's going on with Avengers is it's been such a long ass time that I can recall when a movie ends, it has such an amazing cliffhanger, and people just keep speculating about what the hell are
I love it.
What exactly will go down. Because I think what was surprising about Infinity War was how it wasn't surprising, but also so surprising at the same time.
Oh, they're going to do it. No, they won't really do it. Wait, no, but they're going to show how they're going back in time to do... No? Credits? Huh?
So, Avengers 4, people are still having conversations about it, and honestly, I've talked about it so much, and I have nothing new to offer here. Any theories you got new?
They're going to talk about it until the next movie comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Next year. John Wick.
John Wick Chapter 3. I don't love John Wick Chapter 2 anywhere near as much as I love. Like, if I put on John Wick 1, I'm going to watch John Wick 2. It's just the way my life is. I'm just going to, I'll put it on. And I like it. I really enjoy it. But I really feel like there was a missing element with John Wick 2, which was the real personal vibe. And some people love that because John Wick 1, it takes a while before there's an action scene. And then it slowly introduces it, and then the style keeps building, and it gets crazier. Whereas John Wick 2 just starts off with just like a fucking crazy action scene, and then it's just like nonstop rock and roll action.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping this third one will go back to having a lot more of that personal, gritty, isolated, darker tones and cinematography as well. That's really the only ingredient I'm looking for, because I know they're going to deliver on the action stuff. Did you see that shot of him on the horse?
Oh, I did. I think it's great. He's like pointing a gun at someone. I'm like,
helmet, motorcycle. Yeah.
Great.
Like,
it reminded me of True Lies.
Definitely. Yeah, that's what
Arnold's
flashed
on the horse.
Yeah.
That's great. Push floor 12, please. That was terrible. That was a terrible.
That's amazing.
Impression. Oh, there we go. There's Bill. Bill Hader. The fact that they got all these people to play the older version of these kids, like every single one of them is like perfect.
Jessica Chastain, without a doubt, was the most obvious, but the most demanded, I think. Like,
and they got her.
When you say older, you're like, well, Jessica Chastain, right?
Of course,
yeah.
Of course.
And they got her. She's perfect. Like, without a doubt, she's going to kill it. Bill Hader as Richie, I'm very excited for, because I think if you follow Bill Hader, you know he can do great with drama if you follow him. But I don't think the masses are aware of how good of a dramatic actor Bill Hader is. And Richie is supposed to be a funny guy, you know, and when he's an adult especially, he's supposed to still be a funny guy. But for it, he's going to need to bring a layer of drama as well. And I'm really excited for that. James McAvoy is Bill. Like, I don't know if there's a word for, you know how there's like the scream queens for girls? I don't know if there's a word for guys, but I feel like James McAvoy is breaking into that territory with things like Split and now It.
Oh, yeah. I think this is one of those opportunities where you can really go somewhere totally different with a story in a sequel. You don't have as much room in a lot of other films, but this is like, nah, whole new cast, whole new story. Like, you can do whatever you want. I mean, this is like the dream. This is like the dream lineup. Like fantasy football draft. And it was like, oh, I got all my favorite players. Yay.
It's more exciting than the miniseries of how they handled it. Did you see the miniseries?
I did. I thought it was bullshit.
I hated the adult portion. The adult portion was...
It's so awkward. The kids were... I love the kids.
The kid part is great.
Then you get the adults and
all they do is talk about being kids.
And then the weird guy with the mole. And I was like, I don't like any of these people. They don't have chemistry.
And what I've heard about the book, too, I haven't read the book, but a lot of people who have generally tell me that the kid stuff is the better part of the book too, and that there's some really weird stuff that goes on in the adult part towards the end.
Don't they like gangbang her or something?
That's actually in the kid part.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And they like take away your innocence, and then that.
Well, we got to get that for the adults, so it feels okay.
Nothing like a good gangbang.
This video is definitely monetized. I feel like for this one, they're going to have to take a lot more creative liberty. Just knowing the general response to how people talk about the part of the book with the adults, I feel like this one they'll have to steer clear a lot more of and do a lot more freedom with that. Wonder Woman 1984. What were you saying about the...
So her headband is like 80s looking now. Like the way that they put it in her hair. Because originally it was like right here, and then her hair flowed in like, you know, the 1914, whatever time the war was. And then in the 80s one, it's like in her hair a little more, and it's like teased, and like her ear is like that. It looks more 80s, the way they used to wear their headbands.
You nailed this.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't pick up on
it's like
jack
it
about
looks
that.
more 80s fashion. If you look at like 80s headbands, they would put it like when they're exercising and stuff.
Yeah.
Like picture that and then do that.
I hope this Chris Pine thing is not real and that it's just some figment of her imagination, because I think that would ruin it would ruin the effect if Chris Pine was still around. And why is he still around and looking all right after like 40 something years? You know, it has to be some just like dream thing where she's imagining him. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
Just don't yawn in the middle of my monologue.
I love the members only jacket on him though.
Yeah. I love how if it's a figment of her imagination, she's imagining him in the 80s. Yeah, not like
not like how she knew him.
Yeah, imagine him in an 80s outfit. Kristen Wiig. I don't know. I think she's playing a girl named Cheetah. I don't really know much about that character. I'm hoping it's not a distracting thing. It's kind of a gamble over performance.
I love Kristen Wiig, and she has done some dramatic things. Like you look at Skeleton Twins and a bunch of her. She has like some indie quirky
totally
things that she's done. But as a movie watcher, I cannot get out of my own. Oh, it's Kristen Wiig from SNL. She's about to do a funny voice with baby hands.
Even when she's doing a good dramatic chop, I'm still aware like Kristen Wiig is doing good at the drama. I'm still aware of her.
I don't see anything else besides her.
Star Wars Episode 9. You know, I feel like no one's really talking about, like, putting this at the top of their most anticipated. arguably, I haven't arguably story sounding like a sophisticated YouTube movie news guy.
Actually,
this is Collider Videos here with Screen Junkies News today.
In reality,
everyone because this is
now.
real.
Yeah.
This is like heavy shit we're talking about. Star Wars Episode 9. I don't think I've put the other Star Wars movies at number 1 on my most anticipated. But this is not because I am one of the people who does love The Last Jedi.
I like it.
Oh shit, what's going on?
I like it.
Craig and Stacy like The Last Jedi. Who are you idiots?
Arguably.
Not even because I want to see the follow-up to The Last Jedi. I'm so curious how Lucasfilm and Disney is going to handle this after the amount of mixed reaction The Last Jedi. And not mixed, just flat out divisive. Because all that level of hate, and then the fact they're bringing J.J. Abrams back, I'm like, are they going to play this extra safe where it's kind of disappointing? Are they going to take any gambles? I'm not even really thinking about what the plot is going to be or what's going to unfold. I'm just curious how safe they're going to play it or if they're still going to take risks and gambles, you know?
I really do want them to take risks and gambles because the only reason they wouldn't want to take a risk is if it's not going to make money.
Yeah.
Studios do not give a fuck what fans think about a film. They care if they go out and see their money to see a film. So The Last Jedi made money. Mm-hmm. They don't care about like the mixed reaction. They care about what's in your wallet.
And Solo didn't perform well at the box office. My argument for that is that it's because I wasn't trying to hold your hand there, sorry. My argument, let's just go for it. My argument for that was because it was so soon after The Last Jedi and there was such a weight that movie carried. But yeah, I still think it's guaranteed to make money. I feel like even the people who hate The Last Jedi are like, oh, just gonna see this anyway.
Yeah,
you know,
like
I'm gonna just gotta hate this one too, you know.
Which I really liked The Last Jedi.
I loved it.
I love Adam Driver's Kylo Ren, and to see more of his little like teen angsty drama going on, and then him and Rey having kind of like a romantic connection of some kind.
Yeah.
I loved that aspect of it.
Yeah.
So I want to see where that story takes us. Yeah.
And Billy D. Williams is coming back.
Oh, yeah.
And if they fall in the tradition of all the other characters, he's going to be super sad and depressed. Yeah.
He's going to be old. He's like walking around with a cane.
They're going to kill him off.
Yeah.
It's going to make all the fans happy. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Well, this is a fun list. We just started a movie news channel.
Yeah. Yeah, we should.
Call it Colliding Junkies. I'm trying to combine Collider.
Junk Colliders.
Junk Colliders. Yeah.
That sounds like a
sounds like a hoarder's channel.
Yeah. This season on 80.
Junk Colliders. Well, we're gonna can that idea. You guys can subscribe to the Reject Nation. Click that notification bell to get notified when one of our vids is up. And you can check us out on Patreon, TV show reactions, Q&As. Stacey O. Howard is on social media, but mainly she is here to talk about that event that we plugged at the top of this video. If you made it to the end, link in the description box. I will be there, not going to Horror Nights, but instead watching Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and watching people I have met many times before talk about Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan afterwards. Mm-hmm. Yeah.